What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Jaime Dee Show. Woo! Live on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook at the Jaime Dee Show. That's spelled TheJaimeDeeshow. And of course, was heard live on KSHP out of Las Vegas, Nevada, and live on WRMN out of the Chicago land area. Welcome in, everybody. It's an absolute pleasure to have you guys listening in to my show. If you're in your cars right now listening live on the radio, what's up? If you're listening on the YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, Instagram live feed, thank you so much for your support, for your love, and for coming in and actually having these conversations that are very important to us today. Now, for today's show rundown, I'm super excited because as always, we have our daily news, but we will have Councilwoman Carmalitha L, Gumbs, who will join us live out of Atlanta, Georgia, who will discuss everything as pertains to representing the city of South Fulton in Atlanta, Georgia, her political journey and how she got to where she is today, what advice she would give young Black women who want to follow in her footsteps, her thoughts on what it would mean for America to have its first Black woman president, and more. So make sure you guys stick around because I have so much in store for you all today. As usual, we are live on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, and Instagram. So if you comment, I will see your comments live. I will address them. Shout out to James Williams 4004 on Instagram. Shout out to Kara, who's on YouTube. We have people tuning in from Arizona, people tuning in from California, tuning in from Dallas, Texas, Chicago, Illinois. I'm going to go ahead and ring that bell. It's an absolute pleasure to have you all listening in today. Thank you. Now, let's get into some daily news before we get our Councilwoman live on the air. As reported by the Neighborhood Talk, quote, it's been almost 2 weeks since the failed assassination attempt against Donald Trump. At the time, many thought he was grazed by a bullet, but a Secret Service rep later claimed the injury was from glass. However, Trump has always maintained he was struck by a bullet. Now, the FBI director is claiming that they're unsure if he was actually hit by a bullet. During a House Judiciary Committee hearing about the assassination attempt, Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan asked FBI Director Christopher Wray if they had accounted for the bullet that allegedly hit Trump when they were investigating the scene, to which Wray had a very interesting answer. Quote, with respect to former President Trump, there was some question about whether or not it's a bullet or shrapnel that hit his ear, end quote. He added, quote, it's conceivable, although as I sit here right now, I don't know whether that bullet, in addition to causing the grazing, could have also landed somewhere else. But I believe we've accounted for all the shots and the cartridges, end quote. Seems like he was trying to find a nice way to say Trump wasn't hit by a bullet. Now, before I give you guys my opinions, per usual, I see our Councilwoman is in the live right now having a good laugh. Before I give y'all my opinions, I'm going to give y'all the information. Let's take a listen to this video and you can create your own thoughts. Take a listen.
Yes, I'm not clear exactly where you said there were 8 shell casings on the roof, so 8 bullets were fired. We obviously know that Mr. Comparatori lost his life. Two other rally goers were injured, seriously injured, and then the one that hit President Trump. Does that account for, were some of these individuals hit multiple times? Where did all 8 bullets go is, I guess, my question.
I don't have that in front of me. I'm happy to circle back and get that to you. It's assuming we have that information yet. As I said, I think with respect to former President Trump, there's some question about whether or not it's a bullet or shrapnel that that hit his ear. So it's conceivable, although as I sit here right now, I don't know whether that bullet, in addition to causing the grazing, could have also landed somewhere else. But I believe we've accounted for all of the shots and the cartridges. So let us get that.
It's my understanding that the very first one was the one that hit the president. Is that the very first shot, or is that not accurate?
I don't, as I sit here right now, I don't know the answer to that. I believe we know the answer to that. I just don't have it in front of me.
Woo, y'all. There is so much going on. We're in unprecedented times. And as you all know, I was a COVID news reporter for 2 years out of Washington, D.C. I have worked with people on the Hill. I have been around the political sector. I've done a lot in the media space. And I try so hard to just give you all the information so that you all are able to make the decision for yourselves. One thing I will say is, as somebody who has their master's in journalism, from the University of Maryland College Park, who not only prides themselves on the SBJ Code of Ethics, but also prides themselves on actually delivering the news and what you need to know facts-wise first before giving opinions. And so I want to give you those facts. Now, opinion-wise, because I got to, I'm a live one, a radio personality. This all feels like one big reality TV show. And for me, you can't be running for president and not tell the truth. And this goes across the board for everybody. This is not just directed at Trump. This goes across the board for everybody. You can't run for president and have all these theatrics. Now, we're still waiting to figure out if this was true or not, but with all the information that was placed, the Secret Service, I just saw Kamala Harris at the 30th anniversary of Essence Fest. And as media, I had to go through hoops to even get approved to report on her. I had to go through so many people to even get to the room where she would be in. I had to go through Secret Service, I had to go through metal detectors, there were dogs, there were so many people. And as a media person, I don't just talk to other media personalities, I talk to Secret Service. And they even told me there are people on the roof. There are people hiding in places that you wouldn't even know. They have to come months, weeks, days, time in advance before the event even starts to make sure they pinpoint every area, to make sure they know exactly where the president is going to be, to know where the vice president is going to be, to know where the former president is going to be. They even have like sound detectors and voice record. They have so much. So to hear that this person was able to get up on a roof, shoot at former President Trump, I don't care what anybody says, whatever your political beliefs are, he's still the former president. And his security is still freaking Secret Service. So there isn't a service or a security or a police or anything that's better than that. So for me, this is all feels like one big theatrical moment. And I really do hope that the truth comes out. And I really hope that you guys are taking the time to do your research and realize that there is a thing as cult leadership, there is a thing as misinformation, and there is a thing as the media giving you nuggets to make you come back for more. Negativity surpasses positivity. And a lot of times we feed into that. Even as a media person like myself, I'll take a step back and remember my training to remember, wait, is this the real information I should be consuming? Or is this just me clicking and taking these tidbits and being like, yep, this is true. So please do your research, form your own opinion. But I get so lost for words when I talk about stuff like this because I just think it's dumb. I'm going to use my actual words. I think it's dumb. This whole situation is stupid. Now, let's move on. As mentioned by the Shade Room, quote, President Joe Biden addresses the nation about his departure from the 2024 presidential race in an Oval Office speech. The president said passing the torch was, quote, the best way to move forward, end quote. He spoke passionately about his love for his job and all he has been able to accomplish in 3.5 years. He said, quote, I've given my heart and my soul to our nation. I revere the office, but I love my country more, end quote. Now, I know this is a high-stakes run for president of the United States of America. However, I want to speak on what President Joe Biden has done while on his term. But before I get into that, I'm going to show you guys a snippet of what he said. Take a look.
I believe my record as president, my leadership in the world, my vision for America's future, all merited a second term. But nothing can come in the way of saving our democracy. That includes personal ambition. So I've decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation. That's the best way to unite our nation. You know, there is a time and a place for long years of experience in public life. There's also a time and a place for new voices, fresh voices, yes, younger voices. And that time and place is now.
You heard it from the mouth of President Joe Biden. He said there's time and a place for younger voices, and the time is now. And I completely agree. I think it's time to get some younger and fresh people in the presidency. I believe it's time to get some more young and fresh people in our Supreme Court, in our council, in our House, in our Senate. Nothing's wrong with older people. Nothing's wrong with more mature people because everybody serves a purpose. There's more mature and older people who have a lot of knowledge they can give to us younger folks, but that does not discredit us younger folks who also have that same type of knowledge or different angle to the knowledge we both share who can help us move our country forward. Now, like I told you, this is a very unprecedented time, and I am in no way, shape, or form trying to persuade anyone to like President Joe Biden, to like Kamala Harris, to like former President Donald Trump. But I do want to spread the knowledge so everyone listening can make their own decision on how to feel about him endorsing Kamala Harris for president and what he did in his term. So I'm going to walk y'all through this. For y'all listening in your car, for y'all listening on social media platforms, I did an easy Google search on what has President Joe Biden done while in his term. And it took me to www.whitehouse.gov/the-record/. Now, I'm going to read to you what it says directly from the website, and you all can use this information however you choose. So you simply go to the website, and it says the Biden-Harris record. When President Biden and Vice President Harris took office, our country faced unprecedented crises, a raging pandemic, economic crisis, climate crisis, and racial injustice. The president and vice president ran for office on the promise to move quickly to tackle these crises head on and deliver results for working families. That's what the Biden-Harris administration has done. I'm going to be very honest, and I can only hold myself accountable, so you guys don't have to. As somebody who, again, has his master in journalism, who prides himself on trying to be for the people, about the people, and just passing on knowledge, sometimes I get complacent. Sometimes I forget to look up what is actually happening with our president and within our White House. And I'm being very honest. Y'all can drag me if y'all want. Sometimes I don't even see or realize what's happening. It don't even, like, there are things that affect me. And I'm gonna be very honest. When former President Donald Trump was in office, that was the first time ever in my 30 years of life that I felt something from the White House, that I felt something from politics that actually affected me on an everyday basis, that I was able to see and conceptualize. To be very honest, in other presidencies, when I was younger, when I was a teenager, when I was a young adult to where I am now, I never really noticed anything outside of like a war or gas prices going up or the price of living going up. But all the stuff they talk about in the media, I never really saw that. I never really was affected by it. And so sometimes I forget to do the research. So as somebody trying to hold himself accountable, so y'all don't have to do the research. Now it says its top accomplishments: lowering cost of families' everyday expenses. More people are working than at any point in American history. Making more in America. Rescued the economy and changed the course of the pandemic. Rebuilding our infrastructure. Historic expansion of benefits and services for toxic exposed veterans. The first meaningful gun violence reduction legislation in 30 years. Protected marriage for LGBTQI+ and interracial couples. Historic confirmation of Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson and federal judges of diverse backgrounds. Rallied the world to support Ukraine in response to Putin's aggression. Strengthen alliances and partnerships to deliver for the American people. Successful counterterrorism missions against the leaders of Al-Qaeda and ISIS. Executive orders protecting reproductive rights. Historic student debt relief for middle and working class families. Ending our failed approach to marijuana. Advancing equity and racial justice, including historic criminal justice reform. Delivering on the most aggressive climate and environmental justice agenda in American history. More people with health insurance than ever before. That is not all. President Biden has also jump-started the American offshore wind industry and convened the nation's first federal-state offshore wind partnership. Results for the American people. 2 strongest years of job growth in history, more than 40 million borrowers, and more. There's just so much you guys can see on this website. I was pretty much almost done with it, but I want you all to take the time to do your research. See what the past presidents have done in their term. See what our current president has done in this term, and see what Kamala Harris, vice president, wants to do if she was able to take the space as the president of the United States of America. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, I'm excited because we're going to have Councilwoman Carmalitha Gumbs live on the air. I'm excited. So make y'all stick around, okay? Because she's going to come on here, tell us about her journey, give us some tidbits about what it would be like if Vice President Kamala Harris becomes our president, and more. This is Jaime Dee Show live on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, and more. And also heard live before on WRMN out of the Chicagoland area and KCC out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Don't go nowhere. I'll be right back.
Check out our newest store in town, A1 Dollar Store, We have the largest selection from kitchenware, utensils, accessories, bedding, cleaning supplies, hardware, decorations, and over hundreds of brands for you to shop for. Our address is 3455 South Durango Drive, Unit 101, Las Vegas, Nevada 89117, across the Desert Breeze Park. Give us a call at 702-268-8105 and stop by today to get more value for your buck.
You're all set with your Medicare prescriptions, Mrs. Brown.
This is not just low-cost copays at Walgreens.
I can actually help you set up 90-day refills if you want.
This is having a partner you can trust. Get low-cost copays, 90-day refills, and delivery from your neighborhood Walgreens. This is being independent. Together. Walgreens.
Restrictions apply. For details, see walgreens.com/pharmacy.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Jaime Dee Show. Woo! Heard live on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook at the Jaime Dee Show. That's JAIMEDEESHOW. And also heard live on WRMN out of the Chicagoland area and live on KSHP out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Welcome. It's an absolute pleasure to have you guys back live on the Jaime Dee Show. If you're listening in your cars right now on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, or Instagram, make sure you comment live. So far, we have Roland Williams out of Colorado who says most people don't do research because, quote, ignorance is bliss, end quote, might go against their actual mindset. We have people on YouTube right now. Mood Forever 94 says, as it pertains to the information of what the president Joe Biden has done while in office. I mean, like I told y'all do your own research. Y'all take it forward how y'all want to take forward, and y'all come back and let's discuss. Now, we do have my soror, Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, out at Boulé right now, who just said she saw Vice President Kamala Harris live in action, and she was amazing. Now, again, I'm not giving y'all my political anything, but I saw her live in action too at Essence Fest, and I was like, go Black woman, go! Listen, I'm rooting for everybody Black. Now, we went over the daily news already, and we're about to get into the best part of the day. Councilwoman Carmalitha L. Gumbs joins me live to talk about how she represents the city of South Fulton in Atlanta, Georgia, to discuss her political journey and how she got to where she is today, what advice she would give young Black women who want to follow in her footsteps. I'm going to say this, I'm a Black man, I want to follow in your footsteps too, sis, so let me know her thoughts on what it would mean for America to have its first Black woman president and more. So without further ado, let's welcome in the Councilwoman. Woo! How you doing, friend? Welcome in.
Well, thank you for having me. The energy is real. How are you?
Yes, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here. Real quick, Ricardo Rio says Jaime Dee is right. Doing research only secures one's opinion if it's backed by facts. And I know, Councilwoman, you about to bring the facts.
Absolutely.
So, I want to get into it. I want to give
wild time.
Listen, wild. But I want to give you your flowers before we even get into what we're going to talk about. That's going to bring a little bit more heat. You are the Councilwoman of South Fulton in Atlanta, Georgia. Congratulations to you, Black woman doing the darn thing. Talk to us about the journey. How did you get there? Where'd you go to school? How did you even know you want to do this?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm a graduate of Norfolk State University in Norfolk, Virginia. Go HBCU.
Period.
How did I get here? Well, actually, I am in healthcare, and I've worked in healthcare for about 25 years. And I was working when I first moved to Atlanta about 17 years ago. I got laid off from corporate America, and I decided to go and work for a small planning firm and ended up working under an elected official. And I started running her communications as her chief of staff. And we were actually going through cityhood for our second time, trying to de-annex from actually Fulton County to become our own city. Predominantly African-American, very affluent, just south of the airport. And we weren't getting the same things that other communities were getting up north. So decided to run for office because working in a particular county, I got to see how resources were divvied up to communities that did not look like me. And that was one of the main things. And it was our inaugural race I ran against. We had about 72 people.
Oh, wow.
In our race. And I ran against 12 other people, and it was a wild time.
Right.
I actually won. I was the underdog, because of course when you're building a city, there are people there that already know who they want to have in the seat. So I was kind of seen as a disruptor. I knew the community, I worked in the community, but I was passionate
Right.
about making sure that we brought resources. So Lord behold, I won. I ran off a penny and a prayer, and
Okay, getting a prayer.
I'm in my second term, and I do focus on trying to inspire young women to run for office, just being their authentic self and just doing the daggone thing. So that's
So
how I got here.
listen, let me go ahead and give you the bell.
I
That's
love the
very-
bell.
Yes,
Yes.
listen, I'm gonna have flowers to give to you because you know we're not in person, but you're gonna get this bell, okay?
I'll get the bell. I'll take it.
Listen, congratulations on everything you went through. Now, for those, like you said, that you want to inspire to follow in your footsteps, before we get too deep into that, let's talk about what does it look like actually running for a seat, running for a position?
Well, one is that you really have to know what it is, your purpose, why you're actually doing this. For me, it was making sure that we had equity, and then also to show that Black elected officials can govern. We have, as Black elected officials, we are often seen as corrupt, or that we're trying to steal money, or we're trying to do all of these underdoor and cutting deals. And that's truly not, the case. We want to make sure that we have the same things that other communities have. So it's about equity for me, and just bringing first class excellence to Black people. And that's what happened, and that's what I wanted to do. And that's how we roll. You got to have some money. Now, I didn't have any money. I had to beg, borrow, steal, or whatever, and then also financing my first, myself the first time in. And but I was committed, and I wanted to make a difference. And plus, I don't like losing. So that's what happened. And after that, once you get to show yourself and people believe in your vision and what you want to see for your community, then everything else just happened organically. And I didn't have to, fight so hard. But then when it's, my second race became a little bit convoluted because it was a man against a woman.
Okay.
Are
Are we talking about ethnicity? Was it a white man, Hispanic
no,
man, Black
it
man?
was a brother, but also at the
Okay.
same time, just undercover things that people were trying to do.
Yep.
You can't please everyone, but also at the same time, you can make sure that you have integrity, and
Okay.
that you keep whatever you got going in place, because that's the biggest thing. It's hard for people to trust elected officials, just like you were talking about, Trump and his situation. Everybody kind of, it is what it is.
It's so funny. It doesn't matter who it is, whether you're at the top of the top on CNN, ABC, Fox. Everyone always has a little stutter real quick before they start talking about it. And it's just like, whoo, Chile is too much. But yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot. But this is the way we are in politics now. So we just got to learn how to maneuver, adapt, and keep it pushing. But we got to make sure that we're smart enough, we're educated, we're doing the research, and that we make the best decision for our communities.
And I was writing some things down because you were saying a lot of great things that I want to touch upon. You're talking about how you were for policies and initiatives that were equitable for our communities and giving back to communities that look like you. But I'm gonna have to hold you to the fire, friend.
Yes.
We hear that a lot from our elected officials. We hear that a lot from people who are running for president, vice president, the seats that you're in, and more. But a lot of times, like I said, we don't really see it. So what is actually happening when people like you, who is a councilwoman, and they're like, I'm doing these things for our people, but it doesn't seem tangible. It doesn't seem like we're actually seeing these things happen in our society that we actually live in.
Well, sometimes it takes a while for government to move. So we can enact policies just as soon as we get in office, but it may take 2 or 3 years for it actually to start, for people to feel the impact. So that's one thing. Government moves slow. The second thing is that we just have to hold our people accountable. And I can tell you, in the city of South Fulton, these residents hold us accountable. I mean, they call us out on Facebook and social media. They talk bad about you. They let you know when you're not doing your part. But for me, it's my passion to make sure that I deliver on what I promise. And some people may forget, some people, but you always got to circle back the block, because again, these are the people that put you in office. And I often have to remind people as well that policies that I draft, or whatever the case may be, it impacts me too, because I have to remind myself I live here too.
Right.
So, they're always saying, oh, well, she's raising the taxes, or she's doing this, or blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yo, knock, knock, knock. I live here too. I'm going to see you in the grocery store. I'm not going to do anything that's going to jeopardize, my community or myself. So,
Yep.
it's just having that one-on-one and just making sure that you're communicating and letting these people, they hold you accountable and you just following through what you promised.
Facts. Now, we're going to take a quick break, but before we get into that break, I want to have a conversation about this because one thing you said was it takes a while for government to actually enact the policies. It takes a while for government to even respond. Now, there was a viral video on social media that says, when we look at the president that we currently have and we're seeing the things that are being done, a lot of times the things that are being done are from presidencies before, and they're just not happening within this presidency. Is that true?
Yes, I definitely believe that is true. Of course, a lot of the things that we're experiencing now under Biden are things that, happened under the former president. So,
Right.
I hate having to say his name, but the former president, and these are I have to say this, these are my own expressed views. These are not views of the City of South Fulton or Alpha Kappa Alpha.
We love a good D9. Love a good D9.
I am a member. I don't want to get in trouble. So, but yes, definitely, you will see there's always a lag when you're implementing policies and procedures, especially at the government level.
Gotcha. All right. Well, hey, Councilwoman Carmalitha Gumbs, we're going to take a quick break. Actually, wait, am I saying your name right?
It's Gumbs, but it's
Gumbs? Okay, good. Listen, hold on, Gumbs. I saw your face twitch, and I was like, hold on. I'm gonna get her. I'm gonna get her. You know what I'm talking about too. Gumbs. I say it's Gumbs.
Yes, it's
Gumbs. Okay, yeah. Listen, I'm all about putting respect on people's name, and I hold myself accountable, so you don't have to.
Well, thank you.
Okay, I was gonna Carmalitha. I'm gonna stick to that. We're gonna have you back in a few minutes. Stick around, everybody. This is the Jaime Dee Show. Don't go nowhere. We get into some really good stuff. Hey, Councilwoman Carmalitha Gumbs, y'all. All right, y'all stick around. We'll be right back.
In the mood for a new place for your breakfast, lunch, or dinner? Try Sweet Basil Cafe near the Algonquin Commons at 2561 County Line Road in Algonquin. Sweet Basil is family owned with food made using only the best ingredients. Large portions are served. Try the California stuffed French toast. And for lunch, there's a wide variety of burgers and sandwiches. At dinner, enjoy the pork tenderloin or meatloaf sundae. There's custom catering, a private room, and coffee bar with smoothies and coffee flights. Visit sweetbasilcafes.com.
You're all set with your Medicare prescriptions, Mrs. Brown.
This is not just low-cost copays at Walgreens.
I can actually help you set up 90-day refills if you want.
This is having a partner you can trust. Get low-cost copays, 90-day refills, and delivery from your neighborhood Walgreens. This is being independent. Together. Walgreens.
Restrictions apply. For details, see walgreens.com/pharmacy.
The word is out. Nissans cost less on Route 19, but that's not all. Parts, service, and body shop, they all cost less at McGrath Nissan. Used cars too. The reason why is how hard we try. Right now, get 0% APR financing on select new Nissan models at McGrath Nissan because
Nissans cost less on Route 19.
Come to Elgin.
See what we mean.
Check out our newest store in town, A1 Dollar Store. We have the largest selection from kitchenware, utensils, accessories, bedding, cleaning supplies, hardware, decorations, and over hundreds of brands for you to shop for. Our address is 3455 South Durango Drive, Unit 101, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89117, across the Desert Breeze Park. Give us a call at 702-268-8105 and stop by today to get more value for your buck.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Jaime Dee Show. We're live on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook at the Jaime Dee Show. We're also live on Instagram right now at the Jaime Dee Show, spelled TheJaimedee. SHOW. You know, we used to be heard live on KSHP out of Las Vegas, Nevada, and live on WRMN out of the Elgin and the Chicagoland area. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're just now tuning in, we already went over some daily news, and we have Councilwoman Carmalitha Gumbs. You know, I'm going to get that right. I told you, I'm putting respect on her name. It don't matter who you are, we got to respect each other. That's how we get through life. But we had some conversations already about how she represents the city of South Fulton in Atlanta, Georgia, her political journey, how she was able to raise some money to get into office, and where she is today. Now, let's welcome her back live on air, Councilwoman Carmalitha Gumbs. How you doing, friend?
I'm telling you, I am feeling this bell. I love this bell.
Yay! I'm happy you like it. Listen, people on Fox News, so they loved it on CNN. So listen, if they got my praises, now you got my praises too. I got y'all praises actually. So we have you back live on air, and we left off on you talking about how you may write things into policy, it may get approved, but it may come after your time in office. Mm-hmm. Now, when it comes to learning politics, I'm gonna ask you a real hard question, because one thing that I'm gonna be very honest, don't like about politics, as somebody who has a master's in journalism, one thing I learned was that as journalists, we have to write for people to understand at a second grade level. And oftentimes when I see things that are being said in politics, when I see articles that are being written, when I see policies, I don't even understand it. I have a whole master's degree. I've been in this industry for a long time. I know how to use Google, and sometimes the verbiage that's being used makes no sense. So can you explain to us why this is being done? Because I feel as though that, again, you might not have to follow the SBJ code of ethics of writing at a second grade level for everybody to understand. But if you are a councilwoman who is about the people, for the people, most of the people don't have the education that you and I both have. So why is it that things aren't being done for the everyday man to understand?
Well, I think it's not that it's not being done for everyday man to understand. I think we have city attorneys or, those people that actually draft the legislation and they write it in with the intent. And then also to having the law to be interpreted by other people that are professed in law. Now, what I do is really try to break it down when we are enacting these policies. When I speak it to them, I talk to them how they can understand it. And I think that's what really kind of gets us, is that our city attorneys are writing legislation that can be defended in court, or it changes and morphs into something that when we just thought, oh well, we just needed you to say this, but they're also trying to protect the city and also trying to govern accordingly. So I don't think that is done intentionally, and sometimes it may be, but I know for me that it's not done intentionally. But my job is making sure that I explain it to my residents or people who have questions about it to where it makes sense. And that's the biggest thing. You just got to make sure that, it makes sense. I hate reading legislation. I ain't even gonna lie. I'm like, what are they saying? But once you understand and get the governance, then you just make sure that you're able to translate that to the people that you're serving.
Yes. And one thing I can say is I do my best to, again, be in a space I see myself in and move for the people. And when I'm watching these different shows and hearing these interviews and reading legislation, I'm like, why did you use that big word? You could have just used a regular word. And when you're talking, because you made a point about how they use the verbiage amongst themselves that is normal for themselves, you got to remember, you're talking to each other for us. You're not talking to each other because you're only affecting each other. Like you said, it affects you all, but also us as well. And oftentimes when I am reading this legislative work and just watching certain things, it is irritating. It like comes and hurts my mental health. I'm gonna just be real honest. My mental health is jacked up right now during this presidential election. And I know one of the biggest things that you deal with is working with mental health. Absolutely. And making sure that everything mental health is stable and balanced. And so I want to give you the time to talk about how you're currently building awareness around mental health in your district.
Well, definitely since the pandemic, a lot of things have changed. And one of the things that I did notice in my community was that we were starting to have a spike in suicide attempts and deaths. So for me, I was trying to figure out, why are we not talking about this? I remember doing my first town hall meeting, even after I believe it was the death with the gentleman at the Wendy's. And I wanted us to talk about mental health and policing. And when I tell you only one person showed up, and I know I was promoting it, and it kind of made me think like, okay, we're really not trying to talk about what's really going on in our households. So it became a personal passion of mine to make sure that we figure out how to have organic conversations about mental health where families can feel comfortable, kids can feel comfortable opening up to their parents, because we were also having some increase of, children taking their own lives, being on social media and things of that nature. And that bothered me. So that was something, even though you don't see a lot of cities that take mental health on, it was something that I felt was necessary to keep our communities intact. So we started coming up with different ways. I know we put on a fashion show, which was fun because we brought local designers that lived in the community to design pieces that spoke to how they felt and things of that nature. And that was fun. I didn't believe it was going to sell out, but it sold out, and people are asking for these kind of things over and over again. Infusing music, arts, and entertainment into talking about mental health. So I'm just trying to find creative ways for us to make sure that we open up and help and provide resources to people. And like I say all the time,
Oh, I think may have lost the councilwoman, but until she gets back, like she's saying, it's very important for us to have mental health in our community. It's very important for us to do our research. It's very important for us to get up, get out, and talk about these things that are happening. Until we wait for her to come back live on air, I want to talk to you guys about this. Mental health is nothing to play with. Check up on your people. During this election season, it is a lot of things running through people's heads. A lot of people are not happy right now. A lot of people are confused. A lot of people need help, but don't know how to ask for help. So be there for your people. Ask questions. Show up. It's okay to be selfish in times where you need to be selfish. But remember, we are only as important together as we are in the fight together. Period. I'm going to say it again. We are only important together as we are in the fight together. If we're not in this fight together, we're not important. Because, one person can do something and change the entire trajectory of the world. But again, it takes people. Nothing in life is done alone. So be there for each other's mental. Be there for each other's physical, emotional, spiritual, and just show up. Now, we have Councilwoman back live on air. So let's get her back live on the show. You good now? Can you hear us?
I'm good. It's these FaceTimes. People FaceTime me. I'm sorry.
You all good.
I'm
you all
on
good.
A important show. I'm on a important show. Come
That's
on.
exactly what when I learned about Do Not Disturb, I'm like, this is a godsend. Love me some Do Not Disturb. But you're all good. So people are saying right now, Kara from Phoenix, Arizona is saying very important, 100% mental health. The Secrets of MLN Making Life Meaningful podcast says mental health is important. And I want to actually get into this because we're talking about mental health. One thing I said when we're trying to get you back live on air is that a lot of people are not okay. A lot of people are not okay. I'm not going to say that every Trump supporter is not okay. I'm not going to say that every Kamala Harris supporter is okay. But there are a lot of people who are going to be going to the polls this election season who are not going to be knowing who to vote for, who are going to be voting just to vote, or have malicious intent behind their vote. So how do we get ourselves mentally prepared for election season?
Well, like I said, it's going to be a wild time. So we just, number one, have to learn to expect that. We've switched candidates, and we only have a little over 3 months to really get the word out, even though she's been doing some tours. But we have to get people motivated. We have to get people mobilized. There are a lot of things that we're doing down here in Atlanta to make sure that we're activating people to make sure that they get out to the polls. I mean, that I spent for the past 3 or 4 days since her announcement just trying to make sure that I'm mobilized, because one of the things, even as a council person, you are closest to the people. So when people, this is a hard job, but if anybody wants to get into politics, this is probably where to start, because you're right there with the people. People know you by name. You're supposed to be accessible. And all that good jazz. And then you can go up the ladder, state and then federal. But this is the closest one to the people. So you have to activate, you use your influence. And that's what we're doing down here in Atlanta. We are really focusing on trying to get people to the polls, making sure that they know what's going on and how important this election is. It's really our livelihood at this point.
You're right. You're not wrong. And one thing that you said that I thought was beautiful is that you have to be accessible. A lot of people in power aren't accessible, or they're not. dehumanized, and they want to be dehumanized. And so I want to add the human back to you, because I know sometimes people hear the word councilwoman, or they see a Black woman in power and they think, oh, she's untouchable, oh, she's not for us, or oh, there's all these just dumb narratives for when we are in positions of power.
Yeah.
So I want to give you the time before we go on break to talk about your current plans and goals in your seat right now. What are your initiatives?
Well, you know what? That's funny that you say that, because I try to remind people all the time, I am a human. I am the same person. I like ratchet music just like anybody else.
Listen, bow, 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 bow.
Bow, bow, bow. You know, I do. So I try to make sure people understand that I'm relatable. I'm not this person that's not touchable. So when people actually do meet me, they be like, oh, yeah, you are a normal person. I'm like, oh, what did you think? So at the end of the day, it is definitely about being accessible, because, again, I remember sending emails to my elected officials and nobody never responds. Mm-hmm. And then when I respond, it's a welcome thing. They're like, I never thought you would respond, or if I pick up the phone and call them. So again, it's one of the traits that you have to have, in this role, is you got to be accessible. But then also too, it's important as an elected official that you find balance, that you have self-care, because trying to help so many people, it can be taxing. So I've learned, because when I was in term my first year, I was just like trying to help everybody, and I burnt myself out. But learning how to, govern, and then having self-care is super, super important. So we just got to make sure that we're focusing, making sure that you do what's important to you. And again, making sure that you succeed at all of that. So I don't know what's in my future. I think I know, but I don't want to share on air just yet. But there's some great things coming. And I think, I definitely have a future in changing lives here in the Georgia area.
Listen, we can always have a part 2 when it's time to talk about it, okay?
Absolutely. I would love to come back.
Now, real quick, we do have somebody on Instagram who says, before you go to commercial, we really want to know, what is it that you're actually doing in South Fulton? What are those initiatives? What are those goals? See, people don't play. They get on these social media apps and do not play.
So let me tell you, mental health, number one, is one of my biggest goals, and initiatives, really just focusing on that. I do a lot of work with some of the underserved youth. We have a Christmas toy drive that we do every year, and it gets bigger and bigger. We were focusing, it was called Bring Out the Dolls Atlanta. We're changing the name this year, but it's all about making sure that you focus on who you are as a person, is you and every hue. So people bring dolls. It's a mover and shaker event, dolls that look like them. We bring celebrities in. We have a good time right here in the community, and we raise dolls, and then we give them out, off of Old National Highway. We've done that a couple of years, and then we've also given them out to, single mothers, or, pregnant females that have kids, and we give them out at those facilities. So that's one thing. Also, to making sure that we maintain the integrity of our community, make sure that we're driving economic development, because that's one thing that we are missing. We have to drive so far to, spend our money and our tax dollars. So making sure that we're positioning and bringing economic development to our city, and then also to making sure that we have quality restaurants, housing, all of the things that we deserve, that other communities have, that we want here in our community. So it's a number of things that we're focusing on. We're about to get a city hall. We're about to do a whole lot of things. And as a predominantly African-American city with 108,000 residents, we are primed for great things here in the city of South Fulton. So I'm excited about the future.
Yeah, I'm going to ring that bell for y'all. Y'all are doing the thing. I love that. And listen, fun fact, I used to live in Atlanta from 2016 until 2019, so I know all about the good Atlanta streets of South Fulton. So if y'all need any hosts, hit me up.
Yes.
Now, Councilwoman Carmalitha Gumbs, you said that you like a good ratchet song, you like a good turn up. We are actually going to take a quick music break, and we come back, we're going to talk about that advice. We're going to talk about Kamala Harris and more. So stick around, don't go nowhere, and put your phone on Do Not Disturb. They better not call you no more.
I did. I put it on Do Not Disturb.
All right, friend, we're going to be right back. Let's take this quick music break. I'm going to introduce this song by, guess who? Me, Jaime Dee, who is officially a recording artist. I had a song produced by celebrity producer and songwriter, all right, Slash, who has produced for some of the biggest people like Tyler Perry, Big Frida, Sizzle, August Alsina, and more. So, hey, let's tune into this new song we got because it is going to be. So stick around. I'll be right back.
Bend over, make your booty go around, then make that go up and down now. Bust it open, everybody, let's roll. Can you feel it in your soul? Drop the beat, let's roll. Wiggle, 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 can you wiggle? Oh, wiggle, 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 can you wiggle? Oh, wiggle, can you wiggle? Oh, wiggle, can you wiggle? Oh, wiggle, 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 can you wiggle? Oh, wiggle, 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 can you wiggle? Wiggle, 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 can you wiggle? Can you wiggle? Can you wiggle? Oh, bend over, make your booty go around, then make that up and down now. Make that up and down now. Make that Come on now, everybody, let's roll. Come on now, everybody, let's roll. Come on now, everybody, let's roll. Roll with me, just roll with me. Come on now, everybody, let's roll. Come on now, everybody, let's roll. Come on now, everybody, let's roll. Roll with me, just roll with me. Clap one time if that. Clap two times if you got that. Clap three times if your money low. If he ain't got no bag, he can't take you home. Get that money, 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 money, get that money, get that money, get that money, get that money, get your 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 money, get that money. Come on now, everybody, let's roll. Come on now, everybody, let's roll. Come on now, everybody, let's roll. Roll with me, just roll with me. Come on now, everybody, let's roll. Come on now, everybody, let's roll. Come on now, everybody, let's roll. Roll with me, just roll with me. Oh, everybody go, put your back into it. Put your back into it. Put your back into it. Oh, everybody go, put your back into it. Put your back into it. Put your back into it. Wiggle, 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 Jaime Dee, hey, yes. We outside, it's turned, we ain't leaving sober. Just shake it all night, to the party over. Work it, shake it, drop it low. DJ drop that beat, let's go. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. We outside, we outside, outside. We outside, we outside, outside. Work it, shake it, drop it low. DJ drop that beat, let's go. Come on now, everybody, let's roll. Come on now, everybody, let's roll. Come on now, everybody, let's roll. Roll with me, just roll with me. Come on now, everybody, let's roll. Come on now, everybody, let's roll. Come on now, everybody, let's roll. Roll with me, just roll with me. All right, Slash. And another one.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Jaime Dee Show. Woo! Live on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, and Instagram at the Jaime Dee Show. That's spelled TheJaimeDeeshow. We're heard live on WRMN out of the Chicagoland area and Elgin. And we're also heard live on KSHP out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Hey, if you're just now tuning in, I went over some daily news, and we're in the current combo with Councilwoman Carmalitha Gumbs. Yes, if y'all just missed it, I just played my new hit single that's going viral on the social media apps. We gotta, liven it up. We're talking about some, pretty serious stuff. So I gotta make y'all wiggle and jiggle and move a little bit. So without further ado, let's welcome back our Councilwoman of South Fulton of Atlanta, Georgia, Councilwoman Carmalitha Gumbs. What's up, friend?
Listen, I like that song.
Yes.
That was right up my alley. Yes, I was in here. I ain't even gonna tell you what I was doing, but yes, I love it.
I'm glad that was produced by celebrity producer and songwriter Slash. Me, Jaime Dee. It's called Roll With Me. That was the radio edited version. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I love it.
Yes, it came out a week and a half ago. So we out here turning up.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Go.
It's weird. I'm officially a recording artist. That's weird. But hey, we rolling with it. All right. So thank you so much for still being here and having this conversation about the current climate of our election and what you're doing in your role as councilwoman and more. Now, we have people who are just really happy to see you do what you do and are happy to see what you look like. Let's call a spade a spade. You are a Black woman. Yeah. And so you have people who are looking at you like, I want to be you one day. So what's some advice you can give some young Black women, like I said, even people like me, who still Black, who want to follow in your footsteps?
Well, I would just say step out on faith, really talk to your family. That's the first thing, because there are no friends in politics, believe it or not. You have to make sure that, you have the surrounding people that love and care about you. That was there when you was shooting in the gym.
Yeah.
Because, once you become elected official, you will get friends or people, associates that don't mean you any good. So you just got to make sure that you stay grounded. I definitely think running for office, you just got to be your authentic self. Don't try to be somebody you're not. And I think that's one of the things that I had to learn very, very fast, is that you're going to have to accept me for who I am. I'm not going to take off my eyelashes or take off my wig. I'm just going to be who I am, and you're going to love it. The authentic self. So I tell a lot of young ladies, just be who you are. People gravitate towards authenticity. Yep. And that is the biggest thing, because you got a job to do. You just can't fake it till you make it. You just got to be who you are.
I love the fact that you said you have to be who you are and show up as your authentic self. But what I really hate, and I will be honest, our counterparts love to say when we do things, it's ghetto. But when we see them in their court hearings, when we see them live talking amongst each other in the Senate, in the House, it's like one big Real Housewives of the government. But when they do it, it's not ghetto. Yeah. When they cursing each other out, talking about wigs, eyelashes, and home wreckers, and who you slept with and more, it's just politics. But when we do it, and when we're in our seats doing it, like how you are, and even like me as a media personality, we're told you're doing too much. That's authentic for the people. And I want to know, how do you stay authentic to who you are when there are people in your space? Because what you're doing is a job. And, our parents told us, your coworkers aren't your friends.
Yeah. They
may slip through that, and they may actually be your authentic, real friends. But a lot of people are in it for themselves. And so, again, how do you show up as your authentic self without getting kicked out of your role or not being taken seriously in your role?
Well, first of all, politics is usually a male dominated area. So of course,
what kind of
what kind of male?
Speak on it. You're councilwoman.
It's usually white men that are
older
in politics. But in Atlanta, we got a lot of Black male politicians. But it's usually a male-dominated area, and people try you, especially if you look like something or anything of that nature. You just got to be committed to who you are and stand on your principles and your integrity. I think that's the most important thing. And again, like I said, you'll find people that are attached to you that aren't truly your friends. You just got to be able to have the spirit of discernment and know when it's time to let things go. I'm a Cancer. I'm very nurturing. I'm very open. I am one of those ones that, love on everybody. But then it takes a moment for me to see, through people's, intent. So, I want everybody to be good. I think that we live in this world that's so, green and everybody's happy. And that's not really how it is in politics. So you got to learn how to, get some thick skin. I tell people you got to have a little cutthroat in you as well. And that comes with time. It comes with time. And, if you're, again, passionate about what you really want to see and change in your community. So I just tell people, just learn to be yourself. People will see that and they won't try you as much. Facts. And that's what has happened in my situation. They're like, oh, she's so nice. And then that crab come out, boy, they'd be like, oh no.
Listen,
okay.
I'm nice until you try me.
Yeah.
You get it. And I think it's really important what the Way Up creative out of Dallas, Texas said. We have people from all over the world who are listening into us right now. She said that's a good question. Representation matters and authenticity is crucial for self-love and purpose. And I think this is a perfect segue to talk about who could possibly be our future president, or may not. We don't know because we're not there yet at the polls and we haven't seen what actually happened. But as we know, Vice President Kamala Harris is running for president.
Yes.
And listen, it's a lot going on right now. I see people who are like, we don't want women in charge. We don't want black women in charge. She put black men in jail, but then they're like, oh, wait, that's debunked. That's not true. And here's the facts. And then we have black men who are raising all this money. The founder of Netflix just gave her millions. President Joe Biden has endorsed her. Hillary Clinton has endorsed her. There's so much going on. And as somebody who is in the political space like yourself, you know that this is a very important race. So I want you to talk about what would it mean for America to have its first black woman president?
Well, I can tell you, let me start off by saying I pray for her every single day because she's seeking the highest office in the world right now. And this is something that I have to pray for this sister who gets up every day and she's lending herself to service, for this country. I think we will have a very, very good time. And what we used to have is she will be 10 times better. And of course, I'm a part of the Pink and Green Army that is surrounding her. And we want to see her succeed. And I think it would be amazing to have, a woman in office, not just a black woman, but just a woman, period. We're very thoughtful, a little bit more strategic when making decisions. And again, once we make a decision, we stand on it. So I think, having her in office would be, you will see a change in how we do business and how, women will represent, the country. And I think you'll see more women now taking the opportunity to run for office. I think that's something that we've kind of, scurried away from. Again, it's a male dominated field. But again, just being able to, see her, every little girl's dream of wanting to, be president and things of that nature. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful time for this.
Right. I think it's beautiful. It's crazy because when President Joe Biden said he was no longer going to be in the race, everyone was like, what is going on? Everyone was up in an uproar, and I saw in the Shade Room, Neighborhood Talk, Baller Alert, Fox, CNN, everybody from credited publications and media to non-credited, and people just giving their opinions. And I saw a lot of negativity. At first, it was a lot of negativity, but it seems in less than 24 hours of that announcement, the representation around Kamala Harris has completely changed, Vice President, excuse me. And it's been inspiring, just like the way a creative said. And Robin B. out of Dallas, Texas said, we can trust a woman to raise a future president, but think they aren't qualified to be the president. I got to snap to that. I got to snap to that.
I love that.
I love it. I love it. Now, you said something about being a part of the Pink and Green Army. That's Alpha, Kappa Alpha, sorority Incorporated. Yes. And as you know, a Fox News host was accused of calling my sorors, Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, a colored sorority. What's your thoughts on that?
I have no thoughts. Because that shows ignorance to me, especially in this day and age. I remember the first time I was called a colored girl and I cried my eyeballs out. But also at the same time, it's just ignorance. People just don't know any better. So, those things I don't waste my time on anymore. I'll correct them and keep it pushing. And maybe, they learned their lesson. But yeah, it was distasteful. But at the end of the day, we're smart, educated, goal-oriented, beautiful Black women that will change this world. So I'm not worried about anything that they say.
Period. Now, you said it. You're not worried about anything that they say, but I'm gonna have to counteract, friend. I'm worried. I'm worried because these are the people who are representing the everyday people. These are the people who are disseminating information into those who think what he's saying is correct. These are the people who are educating those who don't even know what a sorority is, who haven't even stepped foot on a college campus yet, who are first generation college students. And so how do you think the media is going to play a role in Vice President Kamala Harris's race?
Well, I definitely think they're going to play a role, period, of to trying to tarnish her, try to intimidate, voters. It's going to be a crazy, crazy time. But that's where we as the people that are supporting her are going to really have to activate. We're going to have to activate our base. If there are media people that are part of our D9. As you can see, the power of, the D9 organizations, those type of things, being able to touch people. We have so much influence. You see how, just with the D9, how much money she raised in 24 hours.
Yep.
It's absolutely amazing. But we as her supporters are going to really have to activate folks. And that's the main thing, getting the message out there and building a community of trust. Because again, I'm in media and communications as well. You have to find a community of trust, and that's the main thing. So I think if we could do that as a group and we continue to build those alliances and keeping, the truth out there, then we should be fine. But again, it's going to take commitment. It's going to take all hands on deck to get this sister in office.
Now, Councilwoman, you said that we have to activate people. And I'm going to be very honest. There are a lot of Black people on social media who are for Trump. Now, let me say, we lost it because of call. Okay, now, real quick, before we finish this, y'all, because we have a few more questions and a few more minutes left with Councilwoman Carmalitha Gumbs. And I think we're going to get it back on, huh? Make sure before I say anything. Can you hear us?
I can.
Okay. You're all good. You're all good. I know some people can get past the do not disturb. So I want to ask you this because hold on. Somebody calling them. It must be real important. Now, I want to ask you this because
it's my daughter.
You're all good. You're all good. She's important. So I want to ask you this because I understand that it's very important to vote for those who represent you, right? But it's also very important to look into the initiatives, look into why it's important for the person who you're voting for is actually for you, and not to just vote for somebody because they're Black or because they're a woman or because they're anything. You know what I'm saying? Representation does matter, but you have to make sure it's the right representation for you, right? Yes. However, a lot of people believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is not the right representation for them, but former President Donald Trump is. What's your thoughts on that?
I worry about the people that say that, Trump is their person. I worry about those people. But again, people are allowed to have their own preferences. And, no matter what you do or what you say, it can't sway them. So, you have to sometimes just let them people be and find another base of people to vote. So if one says no, you got to find 3 more that'll say yes. That's always been my motto. But, I do worry about those people that, say that he is their person. And, what are their morals? What are their values? What's actually happening in their household? So those are the things that are concerning to me. But again, everybody has their own preference.
And I agree. Everybody has their own preference. But what's very concerning to me is seeing Black men who are saying they wouldn't want a Black woman or even just a woman in a position of power. And it's like, don't you have Black moms? Didn't your Black mom raise you to be the successful, powerful, encouraging, positive, and go-getting Black men that you are today? I mean, some of them didn't get that teaching. That's fine. Sorry for your loss. But there are a lot of people out there who were raised successfully by a Black woman. And it's very discouraging, very upsetting, and honestly, just depressing when I see Black men say things like that. And so that's one thing that bothers me. But another thing that bothers me is people who say that they're not going to vote because at this point, they don't like Vice President Kamala Harris. They don't like former President Donald Trump. And my thing is, sometimes you got to pick the lesser of the two. I'm not saying that she's lesser, but my thing is your vote matters. And your vote not being there matters even more. So you have to get up and vote. So what's your thoughts on that when people say they don't want to vote?
Well, I do remind people all the time because actually I made it to a runoff by 2 votes. So when I say that every vote counts, it really does. And people don't understand that. And I think it's hard to, especially with the younger generation, they don't want to, vote. They're like, oh, well, I don't believe in either candidate. But you have to drag them. Like I have to drag my daughter to the polls. She was talking about not voting. I'm like, oh, no, you're going to vote. You're going to vote today. So it's actually having that person that's going to say, you know what, I'm not going to let you skip out on this. Do you know what we went through in order for you to have this right to vote? And it's all about education. But I live in Atlanta, as you know, and it's not easy here with these with men, with black men.
You ain't said nothing wrong. I'm a black man myself. You ain't said nothing wrong.
Yeah, so I mean, it's difficult, not just getting them to vote, but even just respecting women, period, here in this area. So it's a number of things. It comes with education, it comes with age, just trying to, make sure you just don't leave anybody behind. So any opportunity I get to talk to a man that'll say, hey, he's not voting, I do sit down and be like, this is why you should vote.
Yeah.
You do it for your mother, you do it for this. And sometimes you get through to them and sometimes you don't. But one of the things too is really good is that we've started to do barbershop talks where we're going around and barbershop men talk about lots of things in the barbershop, right? So there's opportunities to really get in there and start talking about politics. And sometimes women need to go in there and have those conversations with them as well. So
one thing I love about you already is that you meet people where they are. And I gotta ring that bell because that's the best way to enact change. That's the best way to rile people up. And that's the best way to give out information. If you meet people where they are in a place where they're comfortable, in a place where they've already let their guard down, then people are more likely to listen and actually take in the information versus listening to respond. And I love that. Now, we only have a few minutes left, but I want to leave off on this. Actually, no, before we leave off on that, I wanted to ask you one more question about Vice President Kamala Harris running for president. We see that she's running for president. We see that there's a bunch of misinformation. We see that there's a lot of people rallying for her. The black men got on a call, raised all that money. Again, Netflix owner, our D9 organization has raised money. She's on a tour. She's giving out her first, speech. And it's very inspiring to see what she's doing. But why is it, let's say if you remove Trump from this role and she had another candidate, why is it would you want people to actually vote for her outside of her just running against Trump?
Well, I think because she makes policies that do make sense. I think she has the experience of being a legislator and then also a prosecutor. So I think that gives her different perspectives. Also, too, she comes from a Caribbean background. Her parents. She has some black in her. So there's things that are relatable. I think when I see Vice President Harris, I see somebody that's relatable. I hear all of the comments about, oh, she's married to this person. She's, all of us have done something that, is not always foreseen as the best decision, but she's relatable. And I think that's what we need to have in the White House is somebody that's relatable, that can kind of talk about, experience. She's from Compton. I mean, how more relatable can you get?
Right.
So I think that's for me. I think she brings a different perspective, of actually being able to meet people where they are, talk to them. I saw her dancing at a cookout. I mean, you don't see too many people chopping it up and dancing at a cookout, right? Easy or something like that. So, at the end of the day, I want somebody that I can relate to. And then also too, for younger kids, young ladies that can be like, oh, I can be just like her. You know what I'm saying? So for me, that's what I think needs to be in the White House. Somebody that's not way, way up here and, can actually make sense to people that just normal, everyday people.
Yes, I love that. Thank you. Now, again, I'm so happy that you are in your space and you're doing things for the people, by the people, where the people are at. And so before we leave off, I want to give you a chance to just give us some last words. And also, I know you said that you can't tell us too much about what's next for you, but if you got a little nugget you can leave us with, we'd love to hear it.
Well, I think there's some opportunities for me to start looking at some legislation at a higher level.
Okay.
I'm looking to do that. I'm looking to bring more experiences where I can make a greater impact, not just locally, but more on a federal level. So I'm hoping that God continues to drive my passion and that I can really continue to make differences in communities that I touch. I want people to understand that mental health is real and that it's okay to not be okay, and to make sure that they reach out if they are looking for resources. It's okay just to open up and say, hey, I need help, or to, really just drive self-care. I think that's super important for us as people, especially in days where we're always serving and giving and not taking care of ourselves.
Yeah.
So those are the things. And I just want young people to understand that they can continue to be whatever they want to be and be great at it. Just be dope. Just do whatever you can to be who you are and love what you do.
Yes. Well, let me go ahead and give you that bell. Councilwoman Carmalitha Gumbs. Listen, I don't know what it is you're going to do. You gave us a little bit, but whatever it is, I'm praying for you. I hope that you are protected physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, and just overall, I hope that you are in the space that you see yourself in and that you're moving with love, light, and happiness. Simply Difficult already says you got my vote. I don't know what the vote is, but you're already rallying people. I'm going to just tell you this. When people come on the Jaime Dee show, they always get either some money, they get some votes, they get some followers, they get something. So you can take away some things from the Jaime Dee show, and would absolutely love to have you for a part 2, whatever that part 2 may look like. Again, thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. And I will definitely be back if you invite me.
Yes, you are always invited. And make sure they know if they need a host or if they need an artist to play his new song, I'm here.
I got you.
All right. Thank you, Councilwoman. You have a good rest of your day, okay?
Thank you. You too.
All right. Bye, friend.
Bye-bye.
All right, everybody, that was the Jaime Dee Show, which is live on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, and Instagram at the Jaime Dee Show, spelled TheJaimeDeeshow. And you know, we used to be heard live on WRMN out of the Chicagoland area in Elgin, and also used to be heard live on KSHP out of Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm so happy to have been on here today. And give y'all some knowledge. Talk to you at the level we like to be talked at. I love y'all. Thank you all so much for supporting the Jaime Dee Show. No matter what it's on, where it's at, when it's coming out, when it's live or when it's not live. Your support means the absolute world to me. Shout out to my mom, my dad, my sisters, my supporters, Mark Hayes over at KSHP, Tracy, the Way Up CEO out of Dallas, Texas, Kara Dixon, Robin out of Dallas. Thank you to so many people. My Aunt Nikki, my Soar, Naturally Radiant, everybody, anybody, the fans, the supporters, the lovers, the non-lovers. Thank you guys so much. And as y'all know, I'm officially an artist. Jaime Dee has a new song out called Roll With Me. So make sure you guys run it up on social media. Create some videos. Do some TikTok dances. Help me, help you, help me, and help me some more. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much. Don't forget to follow, like, comment, subscribe, and be here for the next show. Y'all have a good rest of your day. Peace out.